Do you feel like you struggle setting up boundaries for either your relationships or other people in life, and especially while on recovery from your porn addiction? If that's your case, this video is exactly for you. But before talking about all of that, who am I? My name is Wesley, and my mission is to help prevent 1,000 men from killing themselves because of porn addiction. Literally getting to suicidal thoughts because of this addiction. These are my type of videos, and if that interests you, make sure you subscribe. Also, right now we are in a war against the porn companies, and my goal is to end all of them. In order for me to accomplish that goal, I have to free the most people possible from this porn addiction. So if you're interested by that, or if you have a porn addiction, you might want to actually stick along so you can get free and I can win this war. Do you ever feel like you have low energy? I'll explain myself. You wake up in the morning and you want to stay in bed. You don't get straight out of the bed, right? You stay in your bed, you maybe go on your phone, or you just push the alarm and you go straight back to sleep. You just want to sleep for another hour or two because you don't have energy. Even though you slept a full 8 hours, you're still needing more sleep. And why is that? You keep on doing your journey, and what happens throughout your day is that you're having things to do, but you don't have the motivation to do them. You have tasks to do, you have assignments to do, you have things to do, choices to make, but you don't have the motivation. You just want to stay in your house. And what are you thinking throughout all the day is, when am I going back home so I can what? Masturbate. That's the cause, the root of it all. It's your porn addiction. Every time you fap yourself, every day that passes with you and this addiction, this lowers your levels of energy and makes you even more fatigued. And that's why in the morning you can't get up. You can't imagine this person free from porn addiction. The moment his alarm rings, he's straight out of the bed, ready to conquer the day. When you have an assignment to do, you do it right away, and within 10 minutes, it's already finished. And why 10 minutes? Because you have the full concentration on the work. He doesn't have distractions. He doesn't feel distracted by porn, and he doesn't lack energy because of it. If you want to become that person that is full on never distracted from porn because of porn, and that is able to accomplish all of what he wants, you might want to check out the first link down in the description. On that, let's continue directly with the video and the boundaries. So what is a boundary? First of all, right? A boundary is something that you put, like a limit that other people and yourself should not trespass. They should not go above that limit. If they go above that limit, that shows you that they have no respect for you because they don't respect your boundaries, and you can kind of see who's good and who's not good with that. And let's say, for example, in a relationship, right? In a relationship, it's really important to put your boundaries. And why is that? If, for example, you're a guy and you don't want your girl to have male friends, right? Just a random example, but it's because I hear that a lot. A lot of people, they put that as a boundary, right? So you don't want your girl to have male friends. But if you never say to her that you don't want her to have that, is it possible that she will actually develop male friends? Yes, it's sure, right? Because you didn't say to her, hey, I don't want you to do that. So if you don't actively tell her what you expect from the relationship, how can you expect her to actually follow what you're saying, right? If, for example, you have this co-worker that every time he goes and talks to you, he's saying bad jokes about you, right? He's saying really mean things, but it's in a playful way. So like, you know this person, right? He makes jokes, but it's kind of poking you, and he's making it because he wants it, right? But you never tell him, hey, your jokes are bad or anything, because you don't want to feel disrespectful. But it's not disrespectful, right? Because he's insulting you, and it's free, right? He's freely doing it. And what are you doing? Because you lack confidence in yourself, you lack self-respect because of your porn addiction. what happened? You let it pass every time, and now he keeps on joking about it. Every day he jokes about you and jokes about you until a point where it affects your ego, it affects your personal confidence, and now your confidence is so low that you can't even stand for yourself. And that's because you didn't set boundaries. So the first step into recovering from that is setting boundaries. Clearly telling him, hey, I don't want you telling me those jokes anymore. I don't feel comfortable with them. Stop it. And if he continue, that shows you that he have no respect for you. And do you want a person like that in your life? No, right? Even the same thing with your girl. If you tell her, I don't feel comfortable with you having guy friends. Not like it's specific in that way, because that way is like too gentle, but like you get what I mean, right? You explicitly tell her you don't want that, and she said, oh, but I'll do it anyway. Maybe she's not the girl that you want as a mother of your child, right? Because when you know that when you're going to tell her something, she's just going to say yeah and continue doing her things. That's the same thing that applies with boys, right? If you're a girl watching this video right now, I'm talking in a couple in general, but because most of people watching my videos are guys, my example are mostly about guys, right? But for a girl, it's the same thing. If it's a guy and he does that, maybe that like he's not going to be a good father for your children. But bear with me. What I wanted to explain in the first place was that setting your boundaries is really important so that you feel self-respect, you feel respected from others, and people know what they don't have to go by, right? If they know that insulting you is really bad and you actually told them that, they won't go and insult you. Instead of people, sometimes there is people that just insult for laughing, right? They say, oh, you're so trash and things like that, right? But there are other people that take it more personally, and that if they say it, oh, never call me trash, things like that. Even when you're laughing, you won't insult yourself while laughing, right? You won't say, ha ha ha, you're so, I don't know, you're so trash. So you will just keep it way more respectful towards each other, and that's great also. So now that you know a little bit more about what is a boundary, how can you realize where you need boundaries? And that, in order for you to do that, you need to analyze yourself. So you need to actually close your eyes, think about your whole life, and think about the moments that you feel like you're not respected. The moments you feel like you're uncomfortable or maybe even stressed, right? You think about all these moments and what boundary could have you made in order for you to not feel that way. For example, the same example as the previous one that I gave. The coworker that actually make bad jokes, right? Can be a member of your family, but the bad jokes aspect, right? You know this person that always do jokes, but just to put you down. So he will say things just to kind of makes you lower value. I have problems like actually explaining it, but let's take this example, right? You just made something bad, like, I don't know, you spilled coffee all over your desk. What will happen is that this guy will come and say, oh, can't even take a cup in your hands, what happened? And things like that. Now, this may seem like, oh, it's funny and everything, but he will constantly do that throughout all the day. You will write something and you will make an answer, oh, I see that you're having problems with your mind today, things like that. And you will keep on making comments and comments throughout the day until a point where he probably knows that it's too much for you, but he will continue because it makes him laugh. And you just take it and take it. Never say to him, hey, stop that. Just telling him at the start, right? At the start, it's always the better time to say someone's stuff. But you kept on taking it until a point where every time he does it, at least at each like 2 minutes, he does one comment about you. And you're kind of tired, but you're still taking it because you have no self-confidence and you never put the boundary. But now's the time you realize this, because I just asked of you to think about each situation where you feel uncomfortable, stressed, or that you're feeling that something's not going well and someone is disrespecting you. Think about it and you remember, oh yeah, Pierre, last time, he keeps on making comments and I don't like his comments. What's preventing you from actually just going straight up to him saying, hey, stop it, Just try it. You don't need to think about, oh, but why is he going to think of me, and what will others see me as, and things like that, right? You just go. If you want him to stop, he won't stop because you're saying, oh, haha, and letting it pass, right? The only way that he can stop is by you either actually telling him that you want him to stop, or stop frequenting him, right? Stop going to him and letting him talk to you. If he talks to you, just ignore him. That's the either two ways to actually make someone stop their behavior like that. So I kind of already mentioned the other thing that I was going to say, but it's at first you have to understand what is the boundary. I already explained it. Now you identify where you need to put those boundaries, and after that you need to clearly tell others that you have these boundaries. People won't guess your boundaries, right? People already have enough with their own lives, their own problems, and their own things, that it's rare for someone to actually start to think about what the other person is going to think and things like that, right? People much rather just focus on themselves and put themselves first, which is kind of normal, but it's kind of egoist also, but that's human, right? That's the one. So you can't expect others to actually guess what are your boundaries. There are so many boundaries that you could have, and so many different variants that people can't expect your boundaries. So you need to actually tell them if you want it to be respected. And that's what majority of people don't do. They don't tell the boundaries. They just expect others to know that, for example, they don't like to be insulted while they're laughing. But clearly they don't know, because maybe the other person is used to do that to other people, so they will do it to you too. But you don't like it, but you never tell them that you don't like it. Instead, what are you doing? You're laughing with them and making it look like it's normal, it's okay, even though in your heart you feel like it's not. What happened? They will just continue, and you will just continue to take on yourself, and never actually standing for yourself, telling things. So this situation will never pass. It will never stop, because you never ask. You never say what you want to say. When you're telling your boundaries, it's an assertive but respectful way, right? You're just saying, like, I need some time to myself after work to recharge. You're saying that to your boss, right? Or you're saying something like, I'm not comfortable discussing that topic. So for example, someone is discussing the fact that, I don't know, someone in your family died, and you're not comfortable with it. Just if someone starts to ask you a question about it, don't just go and say, oh yeah, and start talking about it, right? You're not comfortable. Actually tell it. So you say, no, I don't want to talk about it. It's okay, right? They should respect the fact that you don't want to talk about it. For example, in your porn addiction recovery, you're trying to recover from porn, and someone goes and asks you, hey, how many times were you doing it a day? You don't need to answer that question, right? He's just nowhere in your life, and he's probably still addicted to porn. But no need to tell him. So you can just say, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, I'm good, thanks. You don't need to talk about it. Don't be the guy that actually someone asks you something and you always answer them, and always, even though you don't want, you do everything that everyone tells you to do. That's kind of you not having identity for yourself, not having self-respect, not having self-confidence, right? And I know that you have it. And you know what? Over time, life changes. You will grow, you will learn new things, and your perspective of life will change. So that implies that there is new boundaries that will create themselves. And you know what? You need to update people on it. You need to update people on that, on telling others about the fact that, hey, my boundary now is that. But you don't say, hey, my boundary is that. You just tell them, hey, now I don't want you to tell me this anymore. I don't want you to make me do this anymore. I don't want you to talk to me anymore. Because sometimes in life, your childhood friends won't stay your friends for all your life, right? Maybe that right now you're 16 watching this video, which is great, right? The younger you are, the better it is, because the sooner you're going to be knowledgeable of this porn addiction. And the friends that you have now, there is a big chance that in 4, 5, 10 years from now, you're not going to still be friends with them. So while you're growing, you will have new boundaries that will make your friends disappear. And what happens is that your boundaries will be healthier, maybe, but you will start to realize that some of your friends do not align with your new boundaries. And what happened in this time? You don't stay friends with them, right? You need to put them away because they don't respect your new boundaries. So don't keep friends or people in your surroundings that don't respect your boundaries. Even though it's maybe family, right? Maybe it's your grandfather. Your grandfather, every time he sees you, he starts insulting you randomly. Don't stop going to him, right? If he goes to your house and he eats, just ignore him. And he talks, don't start to having conversation with him because you know that he's going to insult you at a point. And you know that you feel not respected when someone insults you. So don't make it happen, right? If you know that, for example, walking on the street will get you harassed and hurt, don't go on the street. Go on another place, right? If you know that this specific street is known for people stealing your stuff, don't go there with super expensive stuff, expecting people to just say, "Oh no, but he's different. We won't steal to him," right? You will probably get stolen, and you can't blame the stealing people if you know in advance that there is a big chance you're going on the street and you're going to get steal from, and you still go on the street, right? If you know that right now, if you go forward, you'll get hit, don't go forward. Wait a bit and let the car pass. That's almost making it it's not even an accident at that point. You're making it because you want it. So that's the same with the boundaries. You know that this grandfather will insult you. Don't make it happen. Don't give him the chance to. Just live your life and ignore him. And yes, maybe it's it's not cool or I don't know, but he doesn't respect your boundaries, so he's not cool also. So that's just giving. Anyway, and that, take care of yourself. Mwah.